What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Best Bet Show. It is our last Best Bet Show of the season. It is Super Bowl Sunday tomorrow. I got my boys with me, Austin's Props and Alex Caruso. How are we feeling today? And how are we feeling going into Super Bowl Sunday?
Dude, I'm juiced up. I mean, how can you not be? It's kind of like what we worked for all season, you know what I mean? Even though I don't think any of our teams are playing in this one, it's still like the biggest game of the year, you know what I mean? So what's not to be excited for? All the tradition, all the other bets that you could do, the coin flips, the Gatorade. I'm sure we'll go over those today, but I'm juiced up. I'm excited. AC, how you doing?
I'm feeling absolutely amazing. We're a little over 24 hours out from game time now. I think it's like one of the single greatest days in American sports, like watching the Super Bowl. You get the fans, non-fans, everybody. And the best of all is everyone's taking player props, whether you ever bet on stuff or not. My grandmother got DraftKings yesterday. She said she's going to put down a couple bets, like $20. So, if grandma is cooking and betting, like what better is that?
Absolutely.
Grandma's in the lab.
Yeah, grandma's in the lab. Grandma's tailing my picks and losing money for sure.
She might poison your food if you don't perform. That's
it's a lot of pressure.
Problem. Well, you could bet on everything now. You could bet on, Gatorade color, coin toss. You could bet on first drive, first catch, first everything. The amount of money it's going to be spent is going to be ridiculous. But let's talk sides and totals first before we get into anything. First of all, a great matchup. Chiefs, 49ers. 49ers, 2-point favorites. It's kind of flip-flop between 1.5, 2.5. I see it back still at 2. KC plus 110 on the money line. 49ers minus 120 on the money line. Over under 47.5. What are your guys' thoughts? Also, we'll start with you on a side or a total here.
Yeah, this one's tough for me. I can't lie. I go back to before this playoff run. I believe Shanahan was like 0-33 or 0-34. Do you remember that stat when trailing by 7 entering the fourth quarter? I believe it was 7. And that changed, right? Like they won 2 games in a row trailing to Detroit and Green Bay in that postseason. So they broke that record. And for me, it's like it seems like the Niners are kind of like due, like they're getting those breaks. They're like that type of stuff you don't traditionally see. And I, as a Philly fan, go back to when the Eagles won theirs in 2017. Like they had those type of breaks, So part of me is like, I feel like it's kind of the Niners' year. It seems like they're having those breaks. They're healthy. You need a lot of breaks to win a Super Bowl. You might be the best team, but sometimes you need all the injury health. You need the scheduling. There's just so many things. So for me, I kind of am leaning the Niners, but it's also like, do I want to bet against Patrick Mahomes? Like I would almost rather lose betting on the better quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree.
I honestly don't have a confident side right now, 24 hours before game time. I'm still thinking on it, trying to decide. So I'm hoping maybe you guys talk me on where I'm going to put my money down.
Yeah, I think this one has to be, betting on Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. He's 12-1-1 in games against the spread in his career. That last one is a tie, so it pushed. So he's only lost in the spread one time as an underdog in his 5 or 6 year career now, which is just ridiculous. I think that these defenses are both underrated, even going into the Super Bowl. They're both top 5 scoring defenses. And I think that combined with an over of 47.5 points is pretty ridiculous. So I think that I'm going to take the under on 47.5 points. I'm taking the Chiefs +2. I think it's going to be a low scoring game. And whenever it's low scoring game and it's tight, usually lean with the quarterback that's with the experience and one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play on an NFL field. So I'm going Chiefs and definitely the under on this one.
I hate that I'm agreeing with everything Alex just said.
I want to be wrong though.
Yeah. I think the under is my favorite play. I'm probably looking at some sort of team total under or the full game under 47.5 or a second half under of 23.5. I think as the game gets, into more crunch time, especially with the Chiefs with the lead that we've seen what they've been doing in the playoffs. One thing that the Chiefs have been doing for me is that they've been running the ball so much more. Since that Raiders game, it felt like that they lost. They've been running the ball way more. Mahomes has been taking a lot less passing attempts. And it seems like they were like, you know what? This is our identity. Strong defense. We can run the ball, move the chains, and make some, have Patrick Mahomes convert a 3rd and 4 rather than a 3rd and 10 that they've been doing. And you see Pacheco getting a ton more reps, ton more snaps the last couple weeks, and his defense is legit. But going to Austin's point about the breaks, you could say the same thing. I mean, Zay Flowers fumbling at the goal line, going the Chiefs' way, a bunch of other stuff too, them forcing turnovers. Both these teams, the Niners can, if Mahomes throws a couple picks, they're going to be in trouble. But at the same time, this Chiefs defense is still so good at forcing turnovers as well. I think both teams are going to just do a lot of running the ball, maybe some screens, take a couple deep shots. But I think so many plays are going to go, so much time is going to be going on between plays. McCaffrey's going to be used at a high rate. Same with Pacheco. I just see this game being an under just because of the way I think this game is going to be played. I don't want it to be. I want us to have, a bunch of moonshot parlays hit, but I do think this game is close, and that's all I care about, if we're being honest.
I just feel like everyone's saying, oh, it's going to be under. Like, I feel like it's so square at this point because I've heard every show is talking about this one's going under. And I get it. It makes sense. But, like these are two high-powered offenses still. Like, it wouldn't surprise me to see this one soar, see some big plays. You know what I mean?
Agree.
It's hard for me to just sit here and be like, oh, yeah, it's going to go under. Because I've heard everyone say it. Like,
but last year in the Super Bowl, everyone thought it was going to go over, and it soared over.
Yeah, and that's true. But you know what I'm saying? I just feel like it's becoming so popular that, oh, this is going to be a shitty Super Bowl. It's defense. Like, everyone's banking. Like, the books think that there's going to be no score for the first 6 minutes of the game. Like, watch this one come out first possession. We got a kick return or something. You know what I mean? All it takes is one crazy fluke play to completely change this game. So for me, I'm trying to have a different optimism for this one because I do not want an under. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to be just a boring Super Bowl. I'm hoping for some juice, but I feel you on that. Like, I don't confidently have an over either.
I agree. Well,
I'm hearing everyone say the same thing.
Let's talk about over-unders on player props. I saw you tweeted this already. One thing that we're for sure on, I think everyone's going to play this as well. This is also not stopping us from playing this, and that's Travis Kelce over. Why don't you talk about why you love Kelce today? It's not hard to figure it out, but
yeah, all three of us are going to play it. It's going to be on everyone's list. It's everyone's play of the day. It's going to be probably the best prop that we see everyone bet on, every single capper. The dude's just crazy in the postseason. He's hitting 12 straight. I sat out last week. I was like, oh, I'm going to predict the miss against Baltimore. Tough matchup. Dude made me pay in the first. It might have been first quarter. I know he cashed first half. Was it first quarter, Alex? I know you played it.
It was 2 minutes into the second quarter.
Yeah, just absurd. It's a tough matchup. Greenlaw and Fred Warner definitely are a little concerning across the middle, but like I said too, if this game gets down, like if KC gets down at all, I think they live and die with Kelce. Mahomes isn't going to be getting cute. He's going to force feed. And for me, it's just the guy continues to cover this line. I'm trusting the hot hand.
What's crazy is even in bad game script, he's just soaring over. Like, they've had so many, they've had the lead in basically every playoff game. There's been no reason for them to go pass heavy in the second half, and he's just crushing the line.
Just continues, just Prince.
If you and his reception line before was at 5.5, 6.5 was plus money. Now it's like 7.5. So if you give me 7 catches, I know the Niners are a stout defense. They're not going to let a lot of big plays, but they play a lot of zone heavy defense, and he'll find the gaps. He's not going to probably get a ton of yards after catch, but he's going to catch the damn ball. And it's fucking Travis Kelce. It's 70 yards.
Borderline matchup proof, honestly. Like, if the game stays close, he's shown anyone and everyone he covers this line.
You could pass on that prop, but you're not playing his under.
Yeah, you're not putting his under. There's no way.
There's no shot.
If you do, it's like, okay, cool, man. Like, you got lucky,
Yeah. I mean, okay, so speaking of Kelce, I know we're all probably going to play it. Speaking of an under, I already played it. Brandon Ayuk under receptions. He's had 3 in both playoff games. And you could say both those were good game script as well. I mean, they were trailing for the majority of both those games, or at least it was back and forth the majority of those games. There is a possibility that whether you like the Chiefs or not, that the Niners control the game and they're not really trying to take those deep shots. because they have the lead and they're just sitting on it. Their receiving yards, I'm not touching. I love Brandon Ayuk. I think he's a nasty receiver. He had 3 catches for 68 yards last week. He could do the same thing and stay under 5 catches. He may have a 90-yard touchdown catch. I don't know. But I'm not touching his yards. But I will say that 4.5 line is too much. Alex, do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I completely agree. My only worry is that Brandon Ayuk is a man beater a little bit more than anyone else in the team. So I think that would be my only fear. But as of right now, I'd be playing the under, but who knows? It could change closer to game time. The guy that I'm more eyeing is George Kittle, who I'd be taking on the over. You can get him at 4.0 receptions and underdog, which means that if he lands on exactly 4, you get your money refunded back. In the biggest game of the season, one of Brock Purdy's favorite targets, I just don't see a world where George Kittle doesn't catch at least 4 passes in this game. And I think that he is the perfect player for a matchup like this. And I think that he is the one on the 49ers passing attack that I'm probably the most confident in tomorrow.
Yeah, totally fair. I just to piggyback off Ayuk, like I bet on his over receiving yards last week. All his balls are deep downfield. Purdy struggles getting him the rock. Like I think he had 9 targets on 3 receptions last week. And like, it was crazy, man. Missing him, overthrown on 12-yard outs. Like, just couldn't get him the ball very comfortably. Everything was contested. Just a tough guy to get the rock to. So I like the under 5 catches there. I do like the Kittle push at 4 at worst. I think that seems like a very safe spot.
Well, another thing on that is, I mean, look at L'Jarius Sneed, the number 1 corner for the Chiefs. Like, I can mention Brandon Ayuk's great versus man coverage, but I mean, he had great games against AJ Brown, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen. Like, he's been matching up with whoever the number 1 wide receiver is for every single team this year. And he's had success against pretty much every single wide receiver one that he's played against, no matter what. Right. So that would be my worry, because he's the guy that's on the outside, doesn't go into the slot as much as like a Debo or a Kittle that they're putting in motion. So I think that he's the guy that sees L'Jarius Sneed. And for that reason, like, I'm out.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And I think a lot of, like, I'm on Debo Samuel over 4.5 receptions. So I think AC, you and I are very correlated with Ayuk having a quiet game, just because obviously if he's getting 9 receptions, you and I are going to be a little more sweaty just because there's only so many completions to go around. But I like that he's at 21.5. Brock Purdy's at 21.5 pass completions. That volume's got to go somewhere. You know what I mean? I think Kittle's a great spot. I think Debo's a great spot. I think with those guys' interchangeable spots, like, you can get them on the slot, get them outside, get them in the backfield. I just think there's a lot of ways to get them the ball. And it fits. Like, if we think they're controlling the clock, like, they're going to have the rock probably longer than KC, Yeah.
I mean, CMC is also going to take a lot of those receptions as well, because if they're going to go blitz heavy as well, that dump off right there, even design screens to CMC, they're going to make, he's always dealing with some sort of injury, but no one gives a shit in the Super Bowl. He could break both of his legs out there.
Don't you think he's got to be their main focal point? Like, Casey's got to be thinking like McCaffrey's.
Absolutely, which is why I think Debo's great, because I think you have to be honest and you have to watch out for the Ayuk deep ball. He's going to take a lot of defense away. And I think Debo, with some, screens, some slants, whatever he wants to do, he's going to have a lot more room. So I like Debo. Again, I think a lot of people are kind of feeling the same way, but it's not going to stray me away from it. I think Kittle and Debo are the 2 guys to target. Obviously, a little biased with my Ayuk under, but that's the way I see it going. One interesting prop I want to throw by you guys. I didn't post it on Twitter yet, but I posted in the Dub Club. What are your thoughts on this? I have Marquez Valdez-Scantling, first reception over 12.5 yards. It's void if he doesn't catch a ball.
Wow. Where did you get that?
It's on DraftKings.
I do like that.
Oh, I would hammer that.
Because if he catches a ball, you're talking about guys like Ayuk who are just deep ball threats. 3 of his 5 catches in the postseason have been 30+ yards. So I'm not taking the longest reception because I think there's a high chance he gets no catches. But if he does get one, I think it's because he took a shot and he just somehow came up with the catch. So it's over 12.5 first reception. Again, you get your money back if he doesn't catch a single pass. So I want to hear your thoughts. You guys like that?
I love it. I was looking at his 19.5 receiving yards, like, just straight up, but I think I like that pivot even more. Just because, like you said, like, 19.5, I think he gets one grab for 20+ yards. You know what I mean? So, like, the only reason I unsure about betting it is, like you said, like he might not even get a catch.
Yeah.
So
Or
I do
like
like
he'll get a target, but there'll be PI. Like,
yeah, right. So I think that's actually a really cool line.
Yeah, I just started looking at again. You could bet anything on the Super Bowl. It's kind of crazy. I've been looking at a lot of those recently. You could do like a bunch of things. Do you guys like the Debo rushing yards? I know it's scary. I know it's sneaky. But what are your thoughts on everyone is I posted it as well, but everyone is posting Debo over rushing yards.
I like the attempts. Like I think you can get 3.0 attempts or 2.5 at juice right now. I think those are definitely the plays to be going for. I know Chuck, you had tweeted out earlier that Travis Kelce was seeing a rush attempt, in last Super Bowl that he was in, and I think they're going to get Debo involved. The Chiefs are a bottom 5 team in EPA against the run. Really tough against the pass. Run has been the weakness. Obviously, it's going to be a lot of Christian McCaffrey, but a way that they open up that run game is definitely through Debo Samuel. I just don't see a world where they're playing in this game and he doesn't get at least three carries.
I agree.
Would I be playing at 4? Probably not, but 3, given what they need to win and the game plan to beat the Chiefs, like that's how they're going to have to do it.
And every time he gets it, he's so good with the ball in his hands. Yeah. Like you watch him every time he gets a carry, it seems like he's getting 9 yards. Like he'll be eaten up in the backfield and he's still falling for it. It's crazy, man. Like it actually, and that's why I played his receptions. Like I just think, like I was talking shit earlier on the season saying he's overrated. He's a good player. Like the dude is good with the football in his hands. He's probably their best guy with the ball in their hands besides McCaffrey. Like got to get him the ball. So I definitely, I think I like the 3 carries as well.
Yeah, 3 carries was like minus 160, which is why I didn't play it. But I mean, if you want to eat some juice, like you're going to have so many plays in this game that you could probably eat juice there. It's not like you're just throwing like, 3 plays out on a random game. Like,
you can play a 160 if you have 7 or 8 props.
Yeah, I agree. But I love that spot. Any other spots you guys want to talk about? We have some questions in here. I didn't see Trent's $1 million parlay, but this guy said Pacheco over 67. I'm assuming that means rushing yards.
Yeah, definitely. I would take that. Again, I think they're going to try to run the ball, and I think they're going to be up in this game, quite frankly. And that's what's going to help Pacheco, who has just ran like an absolute madman against every team, good matchups and bad matchups.
Yeah. Another prop I thought you would have been targeting is Harrison Butker in the postseason. I know the points you like the under, so maybe that's why, but the dude's been a weapon, absolute weapon, 1.5 field goals in the postseason.
No, he's been a beast. I think I'm actually going to play Chiefs longest field goal at minus 110.
Okay.
Because this Jake Moody motherfucker misses at least 1 field goal game in the playoffs.
Every game. How is he? Every game he misses something. It's crazy.
But yeah, I think Butker, they trust more. I think the Niners, if they have a long field goal, I think honestly they're not going to trust Moody in this moment. I think they're going to either go for it on the 4th down in that weird kind of gray area, or they're going to pin the Chiefs in. I think the Chiefs trust Butker a lot more, which is why I'm leaning the longest field goal for the Chiefs. And I think he crushes. He hit a 60-yarder this year. He already hit the post in the last Super Bowl, so I don't think he's doing that again. He's been there in the moment, so I think I'm going to lean that for my play. I haven't posted it yet, but that's where I'm going. Alex, do you have any kicker props for this game or no?
No kicker props from me. I think the kickers have been inconsistent. I think the Super Bowls are weird games, and maybe I'll find a spot tomorrow, but I've yet to find something that I really like, is both of these teams were like pretty good in what you'd call kicker defense, this year. So maybe unders, but I don't know. The Super Bowl is just –
it's the Super Bowl, baby.
But can we get into the touchdown scorers? Because I have something that like we need to talk about that I just don't understand with the lines.
Is it a free square?
I don't know if I call it a free square. I mean, I have like a touchdown play I want to talk about, and like my long shot touchdown pick. The one thing really quick, I'll just jump into it.
Yeah,
Christian McCaffrey is plus 360 for first touchdown scorer and plus 400 for last touchdown scorer. Like every other player in this game as like a 50-50 or worse, like touchdown, like anytime score chance, and CMC is minus 240, minus 250 on some books right now to score a touchdown. So I think the value of both first touchdown and last touchdown and what should be a lower scoring game, I think I'm going to throw like a unit on both of those and either win, like plus 4 units on both of those things, considering that he probably finds his way into the end zone.
He could do both.
Yeah, he honestly could. That's what I was going to say. I love that.
I just think there's so much value there at, like, when he's minus 225 to score a touchdown, like, what are the
Right.
chances that it's at least first or last to win 4 units on either?
Especially if you like the under and don't think there's going to be like 6+ touchdowns. I think there's going to be
Yeah.
5, and McCaffrey got to get him once. It already makes
Exactly.
the math problem a little better. One bet that I already posted, it's both teams 1+ rushing touchdown at plus 130, because the Niners have been getting killed in the run game in these playoffs. The Chiefs, as you stated before, do get killed in the run game. If McCaffrey rushes it in, Pacheco's had a touchdown every single playoff game as well. So the 1+ rushing touchdown as a team also protects from in case there's like a Debo handoff or even like a Mahomes run in or whatever they decide to do to get cheeky. Or if McCaffrey goes down, Mitchell comes in, or same with Hilaire. And the plus 130 was like, I think for Pacheco, McCaffrey
It's plus 144 for both of them scoring, so plus
Yeah.
130 for anybody.
is
Pretty
ideal.
solid. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I
What do
did.
What do you think about Elijah Mitchell 3.5 rush yards?
I was looking at that all day yesterday.
Come on, man.
No,
I've been staring at it all morning. 3.5
not-
rush yards?
His
1 carry, man.
I think his rush attempts is 1.5 at plus
1.5. That I would take.
If
No,
McCaffrey goes
dude, he
down,
didn't
he was-
sniff the field last week.
yeah. But you always got injury. Like, obviously you don't want any, but you always have that chance with him. Like,
Oh, I know.
if they're leading, like 3.5 yards, man. I've been staring at. It's gross. We're gonna all have a big slate likely. Just could be an interesting spot. 4 yards.
My problem is I have so much rushing props already that I just can't keep throwing everybody in there.
You know that's interesting though. You know that spot's interesting.
I mean, PointsBet's throwing a horrible 5.5 line. You could probably middle that and just hope he gets 4 or 5 rushing yards on one carry, and you hit both. But what are your thoughts on Mahomes' rushing yards? Do you think he's scrambling away with Bosa trying to tackle him? Or do you think Mahomes is too light skinned? What do you think
That's
It
crazy.
is
bro.
all you.
I can't respond to that, bro. That's crazy. I honestly, I couldn't tell you. Like, Mahomes quarterback rushing yards, I think have been like the most fluke prop for me this season. I'm probably dead 50-50 on those. So I personally am not going to touch Purdy. I'm not going to touch Mahomes. I'm not going to touch rush attempts for quarterbacks. I just am going to let them throw the football to the players I need to perform or hand the football off. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So someone laughed at my thing. I'll take that. But no, I think Mahomes I think Purdy at 12.5 is even something to look at, because if the Chiefs do blitz heavy, he used his feet a little bit when they were losing the last 2 games. I think if they're winning, that's shot. If you think the Chiefs are going to win and they're winning, I think Purdy at 12.5, he can get that in 1 carry, which is somewhat tempting. I like a lot in this game. I'm not going to lie. And I'm starting to get scared by how much I like in this game, but we talked about a lot. We answered some questions. Let's get into first touchdown score. No McCaffrey is the rule, even though you already talked about it. Give me what you guys think. Who you guys think scores first?
I got one. I got my Super Bowl plus 4,700 free square. That has to be the man, the myth, my old next door neighbor, Noah Gray. I think he finds his way in for the first touchdown. He had 5 targets last week. The value at plus 4,700.
I don't want to talk about that.
When he's been seeing the field right now, like at least 30% each of the last 5 games. Like, I just think that there's a real chance it could be him because he's on the field in the red zone. And at plus 4,700, when I think the Chiefs will end up scoring first, I think that he's worth throwing like $2 or $3 on and just hoping that, you end up with something good.
I like it. I don't want to talk about Noah Gray, who had 5 targets and 2 catches and didn't cover my 8.5 receiving yards last week. So you could have the Noah Gray juice. Austin, I know you're already smirking over who you got.
I have a guy that hasn't scored a touchdown this season, a rushing touchdown this season.
That's how you want to start it off.
Patrick Mahomes. He has to get a rushing touchdown this year. I'm sorry. He hasn't in his career not gotten one. Today, like Sunday is his chance. I'm probably going to sprinkle his anytime touchdown, but Patrick Mahomes 2,500 for a rushing touchdown. First TD. That's what I'm taking. He hasn't got one this year. That's crazy, right?
That is crazy.
That's actually pretty wild.
Plus
I do lean
2,500
the-
for TD. Anytime is 400 right now, which is not the greatest juice for a guy that hasn't scored at all. But
Is Jerick McKinnon playing?
No,
Why is there touchdown odds for him?
I thought he's out, but
I thought he was out too. I heard very, very unlikely he plays the last time I checked.
Yeah. it's probably just up there just in case.
they got Ronnie Bell props.
Stop. I never know how to say this guy's name, if we're being honest. But he's plus 5,000. And I think the books are going to collect on like a Noah Gray thing. Or how do you say this guy's name?
Is it Kyle Juszczyk?
Yeah, use check.
You never want to say that? Come on, man.
No.
That's casual. He's been around forever.
I know, but I always just forget his name.
That's disrespect.
He's scoring first. I want you to know that Noah Gray is going to score, and every casual is going to think it's Travis Kelce because it's going to be like an 80-something number, and they see a big white guy, and they're gonna start cheering until he turns around and it says Gray in the back, not Kelce. Everyone's going to have George Kittle, and he's going to score. The books are going to collect.
Didn't they have Blake Bell? Is he still on their team too? They have another guy, another tight end that
Yeah.
looks just like all three of these idiots look the exact same.
They're just robots.
And I remember every time they get a catch, you're like, and then it
Yeah.
would be Noah Gray or Blake
By having
Bell.
Noah Gray and looking for, there's Kelce, there's even Watson's like number 84.
Yeah,
looks
they're all
somewhat
white
similar.
dudes. They're pretty jacked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the worst. You're just like,
they do that on
the
purpose,
dirt.
probably. Get a bunch of mini Kelce so teams can't scheme them up, and
That's a
you get-
great. I
Yeah,
mean, it's looking like it's working. I'm
you
not
get
gonna lie.
lost. You know,
I think that might be the plan if we're being honest. You guys, is Kadarius Toney playing?
he's terrible.
Yes, I believe he is.
He might score.
There's no way Pat likes playing with that guy. There's just no way. Also, do we think Patrick's gonna have a little like too much on his plate, like family stuff going on and
No,
all
he's
that?
had that
Like,
forever.
yeah, true.
I love when players get so good that like Tom Brady, we're like, he kisses his kids. Like we just start saying everything non-football related.
I just like his dad could be serving jail time. Like he just got a
He's gonna put on for his dad. Could be the last time he watches him play a Super Bowl.
yeah, that's true. Before sentencing,
I'm just saying.
it could be third DUI in a year. Like, you know,
It's hey. Are we aiming for 4? Because I mean, your son wins the Super Bowl. Someone's got to take the keys from this man. I'm just saying.
yeah, no kidding. How do you not have someone that you like pay to drive you?
How
drive
does
you?
Patrick Mahomes not pay him like, to have 3 drivers on standby?
He's a grown ass man though. Pat shouldn't be responsible for his dad. Like,
It shouldn't have to be, but like he has the means to.
yeah. Well, I'm sure he's done his part. Like, I'm sure he paid that bail money. Like, I'm sure.
No, but Patrick Mahomes' dad's the type of guy that's like, "Fuck you, give me my keys." Like that's the type of guy. He
Yeah, I'm going to drive.
is.
Horrible.
That's no, for sure. All right, if that's all the questions we have, it looks like we have most of our props done. We have our cheeky first touchdown scorers. Stay tuned on all of our pages for our props that are going to come out in our full list. We will have some fun stuff going. Most of all, enjoy your Super Bowl. Enjoy your bets. Enjoy the game. Enjoy your friends. Enjoy the food. Enjoy the drinks. We'll catch you guys on whatever next video we decide to make. Football season has been a great time. It's been a blast. Peace out. Until next time.